Okay, so today we're going to have a look at Streptocarpus, and in particular why my Streptocarpus are slow this year. They're normally in beautiful bloom by now, but this time they're not. We're actually mid-May and they should have been in bloom for a couple of months. They aren't, and I know exactly why, and it's all to do with pesky little bush snails. Let's have a look at the problem and the solution. And we are in. So this is just part of my Streptocarpus display, and as you can see, there's not a lot going on at the moment. The leaves look reasonably healthy. They are just beginning to come into bloom. They're just beginning to put a few flower spikes out, but we're mid-May. I've normally had quite a number of months by now of Streptocarpus, but they're just not looking that great. Why is that? What's going on? Same with these plants over here. They're dotted about the greenhouse all over the place, but this is the main area that I'm having problems with. And there are a couple of reasons as far as I can see it. First reason is it's been a horrendous winter in terms of moisture levels. In fact, not just winter, I'd say from about last June, it's actually rained pretty much every 24 hours. That, coupled with the fact that I put this insulation on, which has done a great job of actually insulating the greenhouse, it has slashed my electricity bills, but it's also meant that it's kept more moisture in. And I think that, combined with the lack of light, I've had a couple of Mars Hydro lights which were up there. I'm now left with the two cheap ones in the distance there. My two Mars Hydro lights both went pretty much at the same time. They lasted me precisely 4 years, both of them, and now both dead. So I'm just going to buy cheap ones next time. I'm not going to bother with more expensive ones because, you know, 4 years is not a great length of time, is it really? So that's one reason why these Streptocarpus are not doing that great. But the other reason, orchidists will know that very often if you buy orchids, you get these little tiny bush snails, I think they're called, inside the pot. They're only about 5 millimeters across, tiny little things, and they have infested my Streptocarpus plants, unfortunately. You can also get vine weevil larvae in Streptocarpus and cyclamen. In fact, any kind of pot that has this kind of media in it, you can get these bush snails as well as these vine weevil larvae, and they both do a similar thing. They both eat the roots, and you only notice when you get this lack of vigor on top. Like, for example, I mean, look at the state of this plant. This does not look a healthy, happy plant. It has been cleaned up a few months ago, but it's just not doing it. And the reason is that I found on a number of occasions the little tiny snails on the surface of the pot. So what did I do about it? Well, it's the same treatment in terms of giving it a drench. I've used something called Bug Clear Ultra. I'll show it you. I'll just take you over to where I keep it. I've got the spray here. I'm not selling this stuff, but it just works for me. This is the systemic spray, and I've not checked, but I guess that the actual thing that's in the drench is exactly the same. This is the vine weevil killer, and it's a drench that you water on, and it does the same thing as the spray, really. It kills anything that's in that media. I guess it's the same ingredients. I wouldn't know for sure, but these things usually are. And if it's going to kill vine weevil, it's also going to kill the snails. And how do I know? Well, within a couple of days of actually watering the whole thing, I'm then beginning to get some blooms. Could be a coincidence, but I doubt it. I can see movement, I can see an increase in vigor just over that little length of time. So that's one thing to look into, especially I think if you've had a collection of these things for a long time and you've got them in a place where you do get insects and you do get things inside. I mean, I get all sorts of things in here despite it appearing to be completely airtight on the surface of it. I know it isn't, and I know I get these things in. Even if you've got these things in the house, the plants in the house, if you've got enough of them and you've got them close together like this, then you're going to get problems eventually. I think it's the evolution and the life of being a plant person, you know, owning lots of plants, eventually you get these pests. I'm just looking over here now. Is that one? Can you see? A perfect little appearance of one of these snails. Now, this is why it won't be that great an idea to only do the drench. The spray as well would be useful, because I've no doubt that this thing is not just on this leaf just to have a little bit of a sunbathe. It's there to eat or suck the sap or eat the leaf or whatever the heck it does. So that's one of them. And this is the problem, and this is what's keeping them from, see if I can get it in my hand. There you go. This is what's keeping them from really being vigorous this year. Very easy to squish, and I'll do that off camera. I don't want to give you any reason not to eat your breakfast. So yeah, that is one of the little pests. There you go, that was one of the little pests. So that's what I've done this year with my Streptocarpus. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed that it works. I'm going to double up now and go and give them all a spray as well and see if I can get rid of them. So tell me in the comments what you do when you see these things. I've heard people use hydrogen peroxide as well. It's not quite as easy with a plant like a Streptocarpus, because with an orchid you can take it out, you can expose all the roots, and then you can spray it with hydrogen peroxide. You can't do that with a Streptocarpus unless you've got it in semi-hydro or something like that. So we will see. I'll update you at some point in another month or so as to whether the Streptocarpus have recovered. But certainly at the moment they are on their way. They're not looking brilliant. They're probably due a feed now as well. I've only fed them once this year. They've had a lot of water on top of them since then, so I think that will have leached out. And hopefully we can get them revived up again and back to their usual full glory. So that's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.